Let's now speak with human rights activist Ologun, who joins us live from Osun State. The state government seems to have replied. The protesters in Ido-Osun, they're saying, see, the land size is too small for a runway, and there's also key issues like wind direction. What do you think is happening here?
Well, the issue of the relocation of the Ido-Osun airport has been one that has been generating a lot of issues. And at this time, it calls for a lot of question on the sincerity of intention and purpose on the part of the state government. If you look through history, the investment into the Ido-Osun airport, when I made that location of Ido-Osun as the place for airports in Osun, the investment into it is huge. And it dates back to the days of Oyinlola as governor, also followed by that of Relocation, who did a lot in terms of investment. And I'm even aware that twice there have been investors, two different investors have showed interest during the administration of Relocation to take over the construction of the airport. And of course, the immediate past governor of the state, did also not relent. He also had a huge investment into that location, which eventually led to the beginning of the use of the place by the Air Force. It became more of an aerodrome or a base for the Air Force. So the question would be, is it that previous administrations, from Oyinlola to Aregbesola to Oyetola, is it that they do not know what they are doing? Is it that they became so unconcerned, or they chose to invest wrongly? If you put together investment in that place, it's running into 20-something billion from aggregate from these different administrations. So if a government has been said to be a continuum. So if the government of Osun in continuity has invested so much money into such a project, and then an administration wakes up one day, all of a sudden to begin to pick holes in the siting of the airport and other issues that have not been there ab initio, it calls for a lot of questioning. Number two, a lot of people are also asking, which I'm part of, if the Ido-Osun airport needs to be relocated for whatever reason. Because as far as I'm concerned, the excuses being given by the state government and the government are not good enough. They are flimsy. But let's give it to them that the airport needs to be relocated. The question would be, why the relocation of the Ido-Osun airport to the hometown of the governor? Do not forget that one of the albatross or one of the issues that have surrounded the administration of Senator Nuruddin Adeleke in the last 2 years has been the over-concentration of government projects in and around Ede as a town among other major cities or towns in Osun State. So the question will be, why the choice of Ede? Why will it be Ede, the hometown of the governor, and not any other place? If you relocate this airport, you are going to start afresh from wherever you are relocating it to.
I hear you clearly, Mr. Ologun, and I understand your point of view. But the politics and the location aside, if indeed the figures quoted by the state government is true, there's practically nothing anyone can do about it if you don't have the landmass needed for a standard runway. But are human rights activists like yourself also concerned about the quantum of finance that has gone into this project? Some reports are quoting as much as 20 billion naira in the past years.
Yes, that's one of the things I made reference to. What happens to the investment that successive administration has made into that place? One of the two major excuses that the incumbent government is making is that there's not enough runway. And if they need to create more space, they need to demolish buildings, they need to acquire more land. I will believe that if that be the case, if you look at the quantity of amount of money or the amount of money that will be needed for a fresh start of a airport in the new location, if you quantify what will be needed to start afresh and you put that side by side with the amount of money you may have to pay for compensation and acquiring of new land, I don't know what the figures are, but I don't think there might be much difference in it. So what happens to the hope of the people of Ido-Osun? What happens to the aspiration? You would recall that deliberately the people of that town have not encroached on that land. They have stayed clear of that land over the years. So all of a sudden you are taking that milestone away from them. So if you are saying that for the purpose of having to pay compensation for land that might be acquired, properties that might be cleared off to give room for space, what happens? What is the quantity? I mean, what is the amount of money that will be needed to pay that compensation? Make it clear, and let's put it side by side with the cost of starting afresh on the new site, and let the people of Osun State decide which one they think is the best. Look, one of the problems of this present administration is the fact that they just wake up from whatever side of the bed, make policy pronouncements without consideration of the hope, the aspiration, and the expectation of the people.
Well,
you don't just wake up and announce that you are relocating. What happens to
I believe absolutely that the Adeleke government will not agree with your submission right now, because, you know, there's no government who would create policies or implement all of these strategies without putting the people first. But beyond just giving a press briefing so that we speak to the issues, what more do you think this administration can do to carry the protesters along so that this doesn't degenerate in the coming days?
The fourth information that trickled into the public space was when the Secretary of State government addressed the press conference last week Friday. That is when the trickles of information about this relocation first of all got to the public, and then that became confirmed when the the Commissioner for Information and Strategy in that state, Barrister Kola Kwalimi, attended a political program on one of the radio stations in Osun State. Then the whole issue blew up. I'm not saying that the government does not have rights to look holistically at issues and come to a decision. But when a committee was put up to look at all of these issues and reports were submitted, one would have expected of a serious government to have called the people involved and informed them of what exactly is going on and what the likelihood of the decision of government would be. Right. And not just addressing the press to unilaterally announce the relocation. But now that this has happened, this is capable of degenerating into a communal crisis if care is not taken. Right. There is an history of communal crisis between the people of Ede and the people of Ido-Osun over the years. We go back into history. I just sincerely hope that this will not rekindle, this will not rejig the long-age rivalry between the people of Ido-Osun and Ede because of the relocation of this. We sincerely pray that the government would sit down with the stakeholders in Ido-Osun and make them understand why this has to be done.
Let us leave it there for now, Mr. Ologun. We have completely run out of time. We're also going to be hearing from the side of government to understand their position and what their plans will be in the coming days. Ologun is a rights activist who has joined us live from Osogbo. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Let's turn now to Benue State, where the State High Court presided over by